And you all get the prize for being on time too. Here comes Angie. Good morning, Angie. How are you?
I'm fine. How is everyone?
Good. I just answered collectively for the whole group. We're good.
Yep, great. Oh, I lost you. Hold on.
We still have you.
There we go.
About one more minute and we'll get started. Just for those who logged in, if I hadn't said this, Jessie will be our tech support and our question gatherer. So she's going to be doing both roles since Mary and I will be presenting. So we're tasking her today.
We're using all her great skills.
Mary, as if I'm starting to do the welcome and things and people log in, would you just send them a chat, or Jesse send them a chat to welcome them as they come in? Great. Again, we always want to provide hospitality for our attendants. So it's 10:03 and that's our starting time, so that we'll get started here. Again, we really welcome you to these. This is the 301, so it's the application workshops, and we're doing them in different age groups. So this is the 6 to 12 year age group. So if you thought you signed up for adults, that will be later, not today, but later in the week. So just welcome to the 6 to 12-year-old session. And again, like we said in the 101 and the 201, that it's really important for us to really look at, we feel important that the human touch of ministry is very important. Investing in our people is very important, because when we invest in them, they're going to invest in us and in the diocese, and then also to build community. So those are the reasons why it's important for you to be learning these skills so that you can take them to your parish. And it's also good for us as a faith formation team to be with you these many times. So we're really happy that you're here and that we're able to create some community and build community and deepen in that with you as well as we do these workshops. So again, we'll begin as, another thing is, as with the 101 and the 201 sessions, these sessions will also be recorded for training purposes. We'll put them on the website to be used for those who weren't able to attend in person. So just for that awareness that we will be recording these. So we're going to start in prayer. We bring ourselves fully here and fully present. And we just bring to mind all those things that we're carrying with us, whether it be people, situations, whatever it may be. We bring all those people here present with us right now. So in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Loving God, creator of all things, you call us to be in relationship with you and others. Thank you for calling us to be evangelizers, for the opportunity to share with others what you have given to each one of us. May all those with whom we share the gift of faith discover how you are present in all things. May they come to know you, the one true God, and Jesus Christ, whom you have sent. May the grace of the Holy Spirit guide our hearts and lips, so that we may remain constant in loving and praising you. May we be witnesses to the gospel and ministers of your truth. May all our words and actions reflect your love. And we ask all these things in your name. Amen. Father, Son. Okay, again, welcome everybody. Mary is going to kick us off with doing a little introduction. So I hand it on over to Mary.
All right, well, again, welcome to everyone. We're glad you're here. I want to start with something we are all so familiar with, but in case somebody's watching this later and they have not heard this spiel, We want to make sure they understand the child protection requirements. So just reminder to everyone that when you are online with youth, first of all, you have to have your parents, their parents' permission. You can have your parents too, but definitely their parents' permission and their pastor. Make sure they know what's going on, make sure there's permissions. And usually if you're doing something online with the kids and you have a registration form from them, you have that permission slip signed, but if you let the parents know exactly what you are doing and that you're going to be online with the kids. The other thing is that you have to have 2 adults always when you're on a video meeting with youth. It has to be at least 1 with clearances, preferably 2 with all the proper clearances that the diocese requires. But if you only have 1, then you can have a parent of the child be your second adult online with you. So make sure if you have catechists who are breaking up into different breakout rooms with kids of different age groups, that there's a catechist and either a parent or another person with clearances on with them. So even in the breakout rooms, you always have to have 2 people online with your children, okay? If you have questions, you can email me or call me, but also the Office for the Protection of Children and Youth, the coordinator, Cindy Zemchek, she can answer your questions much better than I can even most of the time. So you can always get a hold of her or me, and I will be sending out the child protection document that Cindy prepared for us to have for online presentations. So wanted to make sure we got that out of the way. So the other thing, we're going to talk about 6 to 12-year-olds today. And I know some of you might know some of these tips, but it's a good refresher if you've already heard them. If not, you might hear something that really speaks to you, really helps you when you're working with the kids in this age group. And we know there's going to be some difficulties when you present to kids in this 6 to 12 age group. There's certainly differences between a 6-year-old and a 12-year-old. But some of the tips we give you are going to be general tips to help to get them engaged and responsive to you. So I want you to remember that first, these kids are going to be tired of online content. A lot of them are doing online classes for school. And you know how hard it is for kids to sit still too long. So the best idea is to try and keep your contact with them short. I know you want to get a certain amount of hours in for your religious ed program, but if you get an hour in with the kids, but only 30 minutes of it is really productive, what would be the difference? Maybe it'd be better to just cut your time to 30 minutes. So kind of gauge your time with the kids and make sure that you're not overly trying to stimulate them, because they're going to lose interest after a while. So if you're planning a meeting that's more than 20 to 30 minutes long, you need to have an activity in there to get them up or get them moving. They need stimulation during the time with you, especially if you want to keep them happy and engaged and wanting to come back. They don't want to listen to a lecture. So maybe that you have a craft during your activity or during your time with them, to have a craft ready, or a short video clip that will help break up your time with them. You want to keep it moving and varied and keep them involved as much as possible. Maybe you tell them in the very beginning that every time I say the words Blessed Mother, I want you to get up and jump up and down 5 times every time you hear those 2 words together. Those kids will be hanging on every word you say because they can't wait to hear those 2 words so they can get up and jump up and down. So think of little tricks and tips like that might kind of actually keep them listening and waiting for what you're saying to them. So, and also, if they're old enough to type in the chat box, use the chat box with the kids. They will like having the chat box option, you know, that they can actually get involved and be typing in there with you, or maybe unmute them and let them answer off and on, just so that they can hear somebody besides you talking. So with that, I'm going to give you to somebody else to listen to for a minute. I'm going to go back to Steve for a few minutes.
Thanks, Mary. You might be thinking, you know, why is the old guy talking about age 6 to 12? And that's a good question to ask. Why wouldn't he be talking about, you know, retirement age or something like that? I have 5 grandsons, 4 of them are between the age of 6 and 12. So this is where I live and breathe for the past 12 years almost. This is where I started living and breathing with kids all over again. And it's been a great experience. It's been a great learning for me. Much different than when I raised my own children. So what is popular today was not popular when my kids were growing up. So just as we were looking at doing these workshops, I really wanted to do 6 to 12 just because it interests me. And I have a little bit of experience with it, just trying to keep my grandkids entertained. I don't know about any of you, but I don't know if you've ventured into the YouTube video world, but my grandsons are, 2 of them are obsessed with Ryan, who watches stupid, it's just basically watching somebody play games. And this Ryan has all kinds of things now that they're selling and things. So it's YouTube videos of watching him play games and try out different things. It's like, oh my gosh. But the kids will spend hours watching this Ryan kid play games. The other one that they're really involved in, which I scratch my head at, is called the Tannerites. I'm not sure if anybody is familiar with the Tannerites, but it is a family that so it's the mom and dad and then kids from college age all the way down to 4 years old. And they do missions as a family. What I mean by missions is like hide and seek families. Like the dad will hide stacks of money or something through the house, and he has a GoPro video, and they're going through having these obstacle courses. The kids have to hide and dive, and it's like so I just asked my grandson, why are you watching these crazy things? And they said, it's fun, it's fun, it's fun. So something like that really kind of captures this age group's attention. And so as we were looking at, how do we keep our kids engaged in things? And if we go to where they are in good, healthy ways, we could pique their interest in those ways too. So I'm going to share with you, I found a website. It's called Go Curriculum, and they have some really nice YouTube videos that you can use with your faith formation classes. And it's topics around, so the one I'm going to show you in a couple of minutes is called Jesus Washes His Disciples' Feet. And it really is kind of demonstrating what it means to be a disciple, a servant of Christ. So we can use these things to have the kids engaged with this video. I'm going to show you this, and you might think it's a little bit crazy, and it is, but it engages the kids. I'm going to show you the beginning of it, and then I'm going to show you the end of it, and I'll tell you why I did the beginning and end. I don't want to show the whole 7-minute video, or I will lose you. So because we're not all into the Tannerite kind of thing. So I'll share my screen, and here we go.
What is that smell?
The smell? What are you doing? Like, you're freaking out over there. Are you talking about?
What is going on?
Is it this?
Oh, put it away.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Journey Today show. My name is Jeremy.
Whew. And I'm Jennifer.
That's nice. So, you're probably wondering why I'm just sitting here with my feet on the table.
Yeah, that thought did cross my mind.
So today's Bible story is kind of awesome. It's actually amazing teaching, but it's kind of gross. So in this story, Jesus washes his followers' feet. Now, this story loses some. So part of the reason I'm sitting here letting you enjoy this gin the way that we are is I spent a couple of weeks doing kids camps in the Middle East, and I only wore sandals while I was there. The whole time, 2 weeks, one pair of Chaco sandals. And let me tell you what, my feet were so disgusting at the end of this. And in Jesus' time, like, they would have all been wearing sandals. The villages wouldn't have had indoor plumbing. Like, this was a nasty thing for a rabbi to do, and it blew his minds, and the teaching for us is really awesome.
That's right. And that brings us to today's big idea. Jesus served others and wants us to do the same.
Before we get any more into it, I got a challenge for you today that has the potential to be really disgusting, but I got to know, are you in?
Can I win?
With my arm in a sling, I'm worried you might honestly win this one.
All right, then I'm in.
All right. All right, so Jennifer, here's the challenge. We've been equipped with not traditional Middle Eastern sandals. Woo! Well, Jennifer, I want you to know I did win another challenge, and my feet are in pristine walking in sandals in the Middle East conditions, so I will now receive my prize. You may wash my feet. This is so weird. Ah! Oh, man, we've done a lot of gross, weird challenges, and that one was pretty bizarre.
So I wanted to show you the beginning where they kind of connected and say what the big idea was going to be today. But then towards the end, it showed the actual kind of challenge of the grossness of the feet, which is the kids will really kind of love, is that gross kind of thing. So that's why I wanted to show it. And it goes on to show them washing feet, and he washes hers at the end as well. The other thing is in the video is they have moments where they'll ask a question and say pause and discuss. So you have the opportunity to discuss actually what's going on. But a video like this, which will draw people in, it's not a cartoon, it's real people. It's showing them doing the actual challenge, which is kind of like what the Tannerites do. It will really kind of draw in and connect the your audience. And so it kind of would hit the 6 and all the way up to 12-year-old. The 12-year-old would get into the grossness. The 6-year-old is kind of like, thinking it's funny and would engage that way. So it's this is an opportunity where you can use these as supplements to the program that you're already teaching. So it's just easy ways to find things online. You just kind of Google like a Christian story or something that you're going to be teaching. But again, I gave Mary the website of this Go curriculum, and right now it's free during the pandemic, but they just said that starting in September, because the pandemic has gone on longer than they originally thought it was, some of the materials will now be charged. But for right now, it's free, and they do weekly kind of content. So they'll develop the big idea, and they'll send you all of the material that you would need to be able to do that. So they send you the videos, and the other video that I didn't share is a song. So they do 2 songs, one for older kids and one for younger kids. So you can show those to the different age groups. And then they also give you the content. So they give you a sheet where you can color, like in journal and things, and they give you the big scripture in bold pictures. And so they give you the material that you would need to run your class. It's all right there, very easy to use. So I just found this resource to be a very good resource for this age group. That seems to be they've hit the connection mode there, which I think is the most important when you're looking at kids to keep their engagement level. So so those are the things that we could use as supplements to the program that you're already going to be teaching your kids. So I want to then pass it back off over to Mary, who will then go into some other ideas for you.
Hey, Sue and Angie, I see you using your little reaction buttons. Thanks. That makes us feel good, especially since Jesse and everyone worked so hard getting that information out to you for the last web workshops we did. So we appreciate that. So I wanted to tell you, like, if you're going to do a craft activity with your kids online, and it's absolutely possible to do a craft activity. You can have them have their craft ready and work through it one by one with them. So what you need to do is send them a detailed list to the parents. Now, when you do your schedule for the year, if you know of craft activities that you're going to do with specific lessons, you can include that information when you send it to the parents. Make sure they have paper, crayons, markers, whatever, a glue stick available. A lot of these things are going to have anyway from their regular classes. But if you send parents a list, especially a specific detailed list, that will be helpful to the parents ahead of time. And then each week, if you say, okay, I know this week we're going to be doing a craft where they have to color something, let the parents know ahead of time. Send them that email saying, okay, remember this week we're going to be doing this craft. Please have these craft supplies ready for your kids for when we're in our meeting. So you want to be bright and welcoming with the kids. This is another one. This is tip number 20 or whatever, I don't know. But you want to be bright and welcoming with the kids. Be enthusiastic. So none of us like to drone on or to watch people who are just talking, especially in a monotone. I was telling Deacon Steve yesterday, I'm well aware that my voice is low and sometimes very monotonastic, and I try sometimes to vary it. So I'm going to try and use some voice inflections and show you, yay, you know, kind of get excited with the kids. They don't want to listen to you say, today we're talking about the story of Noah's Ark. You've lost them already, okay? So try and keep that voice inflection going. These are hopefully tips that you can pass along to your catechists. Watching online is worse than when you're in a classroom with them in this respect, because in the classroom, teachers can move around. They're walking around, they're talking to the kids, they're showing them things on their desk, they're writing maybe on a chalkboard. If you're using a whiteboard, that's great, that will be helpful. But you definitely want to do things that will keep them a little more engaged than they can when you are sitting in a classroom, as opposed to what you're doing now. So use some props if you have them. Make a sock puppet, make some masks, use flashcards. You can make all these things at home. And no, Steve, no, Deacon Steve, not the masks we're all wearing. But make some things that you can do at home for cheap. You don't have to spend a lot of money. You remember sock puppets when we were kids, a lot of you. So when we were little kids, everybody had sock puppets. They showed buttons on for the eyes, and they, you know, and you played with them. Some of these kids might not be familiar with that because it's from my age group, you know, but they're great things. Anything, even if you think it's corny, it sounds corny or looks corny to you, corny stuff gets the kids pulled in. They might be rolling their eyes at you, but they're going to remember things. So use any kind of visual aid that you can. Make a homemade easel for the book you're using, or for the Bible or something. Now, I don't know if you can see it in the back, but my Bible is sitting on a cardboard easel, just like this, made out of cardboard. That one's a little bit bigger. So you can have props behind you. Now, in the links that we're going to send you, there is a link to the video that shows you how to make this super simple cardboard easel. And you can make it with your kids, or you can have their parents make it so that they can display a piece of artwork, or they can have their Bible in the background, or maybe their book for catechism, for the lessons that you're teaching. You can put anything on it, but they don't have to buy anything. Everyone in the world seems like has Amazon boxes anymore, because we're all buying stuff online instead of going to the store. It's just cutting a piece of cardboard out of the side of a box and folding it a specific way. And now you have an easel that you can use, the kids can use, and it didn't cost them anything. Parents always appreciate that kind of stuff where it's not going to cost them anything. There are dozens of pictures, tutorials, things out there of crafts you can do with the kids, of things that you can use in your home to make your background a little more enticing to them, and to get them involved. When they're making an easel for their Bible, they might actually display their Bible a little more prominently than they would have. And anything that you can put in front of them that is going to make them remember, you know, this is my Bible. Oh, maybe I'll read that story this week. We can only hope, but every little bit we can do to keep these things in front of them are good ideas. Now, I'm going a little faster, I think, than I expected. So, but I wanted to pass it back to Steve. So we'll go on to the next part. That'll give us more time for questions at the end. Yay.
Thanks, Mary. I wanted to start by asking a question. who noticed a routine or a ritual that we've done through every one of these meetings, the 101, the 201, and now the 301s? Who can name some routines or rituals that we've done for every meeting?
Started and ended with prayer.
Yes, great. Thank you.
Welcomed everyone.
Yes, great. Thanks, Sue.
Had more than one speaker, alternate
Yes.
speakers.
Yeah. Thank you.
Said goodbye to everyone.
Yes.
Don't leave yet though, Sue. Any others?
Can you see me? Can you hear me?
Yes. So we try to, again, so we try to establish the same kind of rhythm that you would expect at each one of these meetings. So after the first one, if you came back to the second one, you said, oh, yeah, so they welcomed me when I came in. They made sure I could hear. They made sure I could see. They said what we were going to do. Why were we here? We always said that we're building community, that we're investing in you, and that we really believe in the human touch of ministry. So we stated why we were here. We checked on, and as I said, when people were coming on, people were checking their own lighting and their own sound and stuff. So they were kind of like even said, so we established a welcoming background where, you know, you could predict, oh, it's going to be a nice thing. It's not going to be a desk packed with papers and things. So we created kind of that environment for you in that ritual of, and that routine of, that this is going to be something that you expect at each one of these meetings. You expect that we're going to provide you the content that we said that we're going to provide, and it's going to be done in this manner. So as Sue Burtis logged on, I said, oh, I'd just love to see Pope Francis in the back. There's Papa Frank. And so I know when Sue's on, I'm going to see Papa Frank. So it's a great way to kind of have that in my mind of that's there. And so we can build those things in our backgrounds as well. Just what do I want people to see? And what do I want them to experience when they're just viewing my Zoom page? You know, so they can't see everything, but make sure I put my sign, welcome to the porch, where people can see it. Normally it's turned the other way, so people from coming into my office can see it. So I just kind of try to create that atmosphere. So one of the other things that you want to always create is the routine that the kids are going to expect. So you might instruct them when they come in that to mute themselves so that it's not a crazy atmosphere, so that, you know, again, give them a little bit of instructions as they come in. And they're going to be coming in at different times. As we know, we log in at different times. So just that whole kind of welcome, you're going to set up that ritual, that routine, and then to know that you're going to start in prayer. So this is the prayer, and it might be a prayer that they're learning in class that you want to do that for the whole year. If this is a year of that they're going to learn the Our Father or the Creed, you might want to start with something like that. So it's just a routine that they can get into and they can expect. Why? It decreases anxiety. So when we're not in person, you know, there's a little bit more anxiety of, you know, will my video work? Well, there's all those anxieties floating around. So just this, you know, creating the rituals and routines really helps de-escalate any anxiety that the kids and maybe even yourself are feeling. So just to be kind of creative with those things in terms of, you know, setting up the background. Wearing something bright and engaging is also a way to attract the kids. One of the DREs that were doing virtual things were talked about wearing an apron, a very simple apron, and every week wrote something different on the apron. So it was a white apron and very colorful letters wrote something different. Could be from the lesson that they're learning. So today, in terms of washing the disciples' feet, we could write service or servant. So just another way to engage the kids, and it keeps them on their toes. You could also invite them to get an old t-shirt from their father or their mother, a white one, or buy one, and that they could make their own colorful thing too. Just another routine that you could do with them that they're going to expect this. Oh, I need to bring my t-shirt with me. I need to bring my markers with me, those types of things. So just trying to create those ways that we can engage, because we know that we're virtual and it's going to be a little bit harder to keep the engagement and to provide the engagement. So just little tips and tricks to create some routines and rituals for every one of your meetings. So, and now I'm going to kick it on back to Mary. I used up my time, Mary.
Thanks, Deacon Steve. If I had an apron on and watching that little video you showed, I'd probably draw a dirty foot on mine.
Yeah.
So
Great.
So one of the things that we seem to do in class a lot when we're together is have the kids sing. I don't know if you've seen some of these videos where kids are singing all together and it's mass chaos, or sometimes like you could see the videos that people put out with the, my choir sang this song together and they're so beautiful and perfect. Well, they have a lot of tech experts who are doing that. If you try and get your kids to sing together, it's going to hurt your ears, okay? So maybe what you want to do is have them sing a song together with a video or a song that you have ready to go for them, okay? Singing is great. Kids love to sing. And if they're in their homes by themselves, they might belt it out, but you're going to have them all mute themselves, okay? I have a little video to break up our time a little bit and to also show you a song that I found on September 13th. The gospel is about how many times must I forgive? And so we're doing a little video clip for some of our kids. And so we found this song to go with it. So I just wanted to play for you just for an example, okay? So I'm gonna try and do my screen share this time and see if I can get it going. And I'm remembering to share my computer sound because the first time I did that, it didn't work. Oh, my video disappeared. See, all these issues you have sometimes, and we get through them and the kids are no worse for the wear. Hopefully you aren't either, so.
Some companies still have
And
HR
of course, now we have to listen to the
between
commercial because
employees
I lost
and
my
their
video.
data. Enter.
So here we go.
Hey, Mary, we're seeing
Mary,
your
I'm not
Skype
seeing
right
your
now.
screen.
You don't
We're
see?
seeing your Skype.
Okay, that's odd. Let me reshare my screen. See? Let's try it again. You see the video, hopefully?
Yes, now it's up.
Okay, let's go now.
There's a man who owed some cash, 10,000 bags to be exact. His master said, forget it, Jack. Free from paying back that dough, his credit score was white as snow. And Jesus says we need to know, how many times should we forgive? 70 times 7, just keep on forgiving. When you reach the end, take a breath and start again. And a simple calculation, mathematical equation, the answer to the question, 70 times 7, just keep on forgiving. And then that guy who had no debt, he found a friend who owed him less, 100 coins, who would have guessed? He showed no mercy to that guy, locked him up in jail that night. It wasn't fair, it wasn't right. How many times should we forgive? 70 times 7, just keep on forgiving. When you reach the end, take a breath and start again. And a simple calculation, mathematical equation, the answer to the question, 70 times 7, just keep on forgiving. What you gonna do when your heart gets crushed? Will you let it go? Will you hold a grudge? When you got a friend who's let you down, just forget how high you count. 70 times 7, just keep on forgiving. When you reach the end, take a breath and start again. 70 times 7, just keep on forgiving. When you reach the end, take a breath and start again. And a simple calculation, mathematical equation, the answer
So I've heard that song a million times while I was preparing for my little lesson with the kids, and I'm waking up to that song in my mind. It's in my nightmares now, so that's why I made you guys listen to the whole thing. So, but it's catchy, and the little kids that I played it for loved it because it was, you know, peppy and it reminded them. And unbelievably, even the little 8-year-old girl I played it for knows what 70 times 7, if you say that to her, she's like, oh, and she knows exactly what Bible story I'm talking about. So, so using songs in your classroom is something that you probably already do anyway. This is how you can use it in the online classroom and still get the kids involved because they can be singing or dancing or whatever they want to do while the song's playing. So I'm going to share my screen again. I have a little PowerPoint. I promise it's not long, and I promise, I shouldn't promise, but I'm hoping it won't drive you to insanity watching another PowerPoint online. But these are some of the little tips, some extra little tips. And so instead of just looking at our faces, I'd show you a few other little things. So we'll share the screen again and we'll go from there. And let me see. Okay, so these are just some tips for your classroom, and I wanted to give them to you. You will get a copy of these later on. So if it's something that you can pass along to your catechist, that might be helpful. But one of the things that was suggested is trying a flipped classroom. Now, if you don't know what a flipped classroom is, or you've heard it but you can't remember, it's when you send something home for them to read or watch, or an activity for them to do, and then when you come back together, you talk about it together online. So they're doing some of the work at home, and then they get to come back and talk about it. That might keep them a little more excited and engaged because they want to share with you what they're doing. So another idea is only talk about one idea at a time. If you're talking about King David and you talk about the story of David and Goliath, but then you start talking about the story of him wanting to build the temple, kids aren't going to follow that. So keep it very one idea at a time oriented so that they will get they'll get the idea that you're talking to them about before you go on to the next thing. So slow down. Don't rush through your lesson and don't speak too fast. You can radiate a lot of energy without speed talking. We're not in an auction. We're just trying to get some things across to kids. Now, I used to watch this video. I played it for some of the ladies in the church at Holy Rosary in Erie, and it was Father Mike Schmitz. And he talks so fast that my age group doesn't keep up with him as much. The old ladies that were there, and I say old with quotes around it because I'm in that age, approaching that age group, but they just laughed through the whole thing. And when afterwards I said to them, what did you think was funny about it? They said, oh, he's so cute, but I couldn't understand a word he said. So remember that your kids, you're their only source right now in your teaching. So keep your message a little bit slower, take your time explaining it to them so that they can grasp what you're saying and possibly ask questions if they need to. So another tip is to simplify. You're not with them. You can't show them something one-on-one. If you're pointing to something on the table, they don't see what you're pointing to. So you want to have really clear, concise explanations and lessons. An example I got in a webinar I was just watching was a teacher said to her students, I want you to write down how to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and then pass it in. So she got all the papers from the kids. She said, okay, I'm going to demonstrate now with your directions. And the first one said, put some peanut butter on some bread. So she picked up a jar of peanut butter and laid it on top of a loaf of bread. The kids were like, what? She said, look, your directions, you might understand what they are, but somebody else might. So try and be very specific and very clear with what you're giving them. So visual activity and teaching time are very important. Everything right now you're doing is very visual. All this teaching time you're having is right in front of them on a video, and There's nowhere else for them to look, hopefully, in their homes. They're watching you. So be as visual as you can with them. The more you can gauge their eyes, the more you'll keep them interested. So as Deacon Steve said, bright colors, wear something fun, things like that will keep kids attracted and engaged. Now, I do have some tips for your parents to help create a positive space and experience for their kids. Now, they might already have these tips from their online classes for their schools, but they might not, or they might not remember them. So I'm going to give you some tips that you can pass along to your parents if you think that's a great idea for them to be able to work with. So when your parents are getting ready to set up time for the kids, they have to create a learning space for their kids. It doesn't have to be fancy. It doesn't have to be a specific desk. It just has to be a special place that they meet to do their homework, or set up a quiet, clutter-free area for the kids to focus. The dining room table is great, but if they have a desk, that's great too. It just needs to be a space that the kids know that this is where I'm going to meet for my religious ed classes, or do my homework, or whatever else is assigned to that area. So make a schedule and have them stick to it. Ask the parents to make a schedule for their kids. Maybe they have one of those little printout papers that says September, Joey, and then another one that says September, Kayla, and on it, they're going to color code everything they have to do. If you have religion color coded in red, schoolwork color coded in blue, whatever else they're doing, they need to have this schedule, and they need to stick to the schedule and do the same thing every day. Just as Deacon Steve talked about, you have some things that you're doing every day when you first come online. There's some specific things. There's going to be a lot less anxiety. Kids know what comes next, and it's going to help them out. And so the same thing with you. Make your schedule and stick to it every week so that you know what you're doing, and it will take some of the stress and anxiety out of your life. So that also reminds me, make sure you're doing your class at the same time every week. Don't say, okay, this week we're going to do class at 1 o'clock on Sunday, but next week I'm going to do it at 10 o'clock on Sunday. That's going to be just confusing to the parents. So make your schedule up, send it to them so they can plan ahead for class time, and do the same time every time you meet as much as humanly possible. Reduce the distractions. Ask the parents to set up an area in their home where there's no video game, no computers, games, no social media, their TV and their pets aren't walking by. Our homes have a lot of distractions. So make a list, to have them make a list of the things that distract the children. Then you can find ways to limit them during their learning time. If they have a 2-year-old fidget spinner sitting on their desk while you're having class, guess what they're looking at and playing with? It's not your classroom. They're going to be playing with that little fidget spinner. So a color code calendar, I talked about that a little bit before in the schedule. Make sure you have specific colors for things. That will help out. If a parent has a little marker that they can highlight things with, or color code the things that they're doing with their kids, it's really going to help them at a glance to know that today I have religious ed and Joey has soccer practice. A lot of parents are already doing this with their kids, but just reiterate that to them. It makes them feel good too to know that they're doing the things that are right. So these are for you and your catechist. Have a backup plan. Have a plan A, a plan B, and hopefully a plan C. If your plan A is not working and you can't seem to connect with the kids, go to plan B. Maybe you have, there could be issues with your Zoom. Maybe your Zoom's not working. So you have your co-catechist has their Zoom up and ready so that they can start because your internet's not working. At least now you have a way to get on. Or if Zoom is out like it was a week and a half ago, maybe you can use Google Meet. I know a lot of people aren't familiar with more than one place that they can go and do online video conferencing. But if you can get a little bit familiar with the second one, you have that alternative just in case, that you can text all the parents and say, hey, Zoom's not working. We're going to go to this site, and give them a web link. But also, if your story that day or your lesson with the kids is not working, maybe you have a backup Bible story or a little video clip that you can use And then you can reset yourself too. Well, you give the kids 5 minutes to watch a video Bible story or a song clip, you can reset yourself and be ready to go on then with the next part of your lesson. And if neither of those are working, maybe you say to the kids, hey, let's get out a picture. Let's get out your paper and let's color a picture of somebody who's forgiving somebody else. Or maybe you have them a color picture of something that they need to be forgiven for. So, or maybe your lessons on Noah and the ark. Have them draw a picture of their favorite animal, or ask them to, what is the favorite animal of yours? And what animal do you think that Noah brought on the ark first? So give them a lot of opportunities. There's cartoon stories out there. Have everything ready and prepared. So when you're running into something and it's kind of panicky, then you have a backup plan that's going to help you, and it's going to help the kids, because if you're fumbling through things, the kids are going to notice that and they're going to lose interest. Okay. Now there are hundreds, probably thousands of websites out there that have tips and links that can help you be more engaging and help you find lessons for your kids. We're going to send you a couple of examples of the website, just some samples that we found of some Catholic websites with lesson plans. The one that Deacon Steve talked about earlier, we'll give you the link to that. There's other, I bet some of you have used some really great websites. Is there anybody want to share a really great website they enjoy? See, I asked you a question. Now you have to be awake. So, I know some of you guys have told me some great websites. Catholic Icing. A lot of catechists have used Catholic Icing. And we're going to send you the link for that one. It's got some great crafts for kids. It's got some things that you can do with their parents too, that you can get their parents involved. So I know many of you have done this for years. Many of you have been in a classroom or been a leader for years. It's not too much different what you're doing this year, but then it's totally different. So there's a lot to consider in what's going on right now. So try out some of these tips. Have your catechist practice in front of a mirror, or set up a Zoom session where you can practice together. I know that I say all the time, and it drives me nuts when I watch it back and go, oh my gosh, I said 47 times in 30 minutes. I do. So I understand that, and I'm trying to cut down on that, but it only comes from watching myself and saying, oh, why did I do that? Or I can make this better this way. So have them practice a little bit. They can record themselves on their own video camera on their computer if they want, and play it back and see things that they're doing. So make sure that they are prepared for how they're going to look and how they're going to sound on a video, okay? So what we're going to do now is we're going to open it up for some questions and answers. Jesse's been taking questions, and actually I also got a question too, Jesse, from Sue Burtis. She mentioned breakout rooms, and let me find the question so I ask it the proper way. Sue said, can you make it public, or I'm sorry, if you use the chat with the older students in the breakout rooms, or even in your session, should you make it public so that everyone can see, so that we follow child protection? Child protection is such an important thing. If you make it public, the one issue with that is kids might be talking back and forth, and then you've lost control of the conversation because they're all talking about other things. If you make it private to only a host, then they can chat with only one host. Then you're looking at, oh, do I have to be careful about child protection? But know that the chats are saved. You can save the chat at the end of your session so that you have specific proof and wording of what exactly went on in the chat box during that time, so that you know that you're safe and nobody can say, well, you were privately chatting with Joey over there and I didn't think it was appropriate. Hopefully that will never happen to you, but you will have some backup for yourself if you save the chat. And if there is a private chat with you and the kids, again, just make sure you save that chat. It's better if more people can see it, but then you have the possibility of losing control of what's going on because 5 kids are over here chatting to themselves. Okay?
And just to make it really clear what Mary's saying,
we've learned that even if you are private chatting somebody one-on-one on the side, the host of the meeting has the option to download the full chat transcript, and it will include all of the one-on-one sidebar conversations. So just so you know, we don't do that. Like, that's not our practice as Faith Formation to like read what everybody's one-on-one things are. But for your students, I mean, that's something that you could let them know about, or, you know, be really transparent, or let their parents know about, or, you know, so yeah, that is part of how it works. Angie asked me a really great question, but I also saw that you raised your hand, Angie, so we'd love to hear your voice if you want to ask that or something else.
Well, I was just going to say, you know, even if you don't have a certain website that your go-to website, if you just Google, if your lesson is on Jonah and the whale, you know, Google Jonah and the whale crafts, and then, you know, click on images, and a ton of stuff comes up. So yeah, I mean, we have a lot of different websites that we use, but Google is the one that I go to. But my question was, on Saturday we did our first ever virtual First Eucharist retreat, and I had my PowerPoint ready, I had my videos embedded in the PowerPoint, but when I went to share my screen, we lost the kids. And today I saw, when I wasn't sharing my screen, like the view options. When you're sharing your screen, do you also have that view option?
That's a good question. I think
thanks,
I know the answer,
Jessica.
but Mary, do you want to take it?
No, I was going to let you take it. I was going to ask you, but you were still muted. I was like, oh, Jesse, help us.
No, that's okay. Mary, can you do me a favor? Can you share your screen right now? Can you put back up the PowerPoint that you had before? And then you'll be able to tell people. So there's one thing, and it might be different when you're a participant or when you're a host, but one helpful trick if you all don't know that. So now that Mary has shared her screen, if you're on your desktop, Mary, you can keep it shared if you would. That's
Let me
okay.
get it back up there, sorry.
No problem. So your default mode might be to see 5 or 6 little pictures of 5 or 6 people on the side. Can I get a thumbs up if that's true? Do you see 5 or 6 photos right now? Okay, great. So there is a little tiny 2 lines, 2 parallel up and down vertical lines between the images and the PowerPoint. So if you hover over those lines, you'll see a gray line that comes up, and then you can drag that gray line to the left or to the right to see more or less of the pictures. I'm seeing some smiles. That's good if this is something new that you're learning. Good, Teresa. So you can pull that bar. If you pull it to the left, then you can see as many. I'm able to see 12 photos right now. So that's a good thing, at least as a participant, that you can see more people in the room. It makes the PowerPoint shrink down because you're using less space for the PowerPoint and more space on your screen for pictures, but that's a good thing to do. So Mary, when you are sharing your screen, do you have a view option that you can click a little box and then you can still see some photos of people?
Yes, on the right side of my screen when I share it, there's a little box with a photo, and there's 4 options. There's a little line so that I only see, or so I see nothing. Then there's a box that I would see only the active speaker, and then there's some thumbnail video, and then there's also the grid feature, so that I can see. Right now, I can see 8 of you right away. Because I have the grid feature enabled, and there's an arrow at the bottom, and I can arrow over and then see the rest of you. So you cannot stay hidden from me. I can see you all. So.
Jesse and Mary, just also to the comment on that, if you go to the grid video and you only get 4 or 6, if you go down to the corner, you can drag that out and get everybody. So I can drag it out. It covers up the little bit of the screen, but I have everybody on the screen. So you can drag that in and out as well. You can minimize it, you can maximize it. So that's another quick, easy option. Just hit on the grid video, go down to the corner and drag it out.
Would there be any chance that you could do some screenshots of that, Mary? Just because I don't understand. Without having it in front of me, I'm a visual learner. That would be fantastic if you could do that for us. I would
Yes,
appreciate that.
that's good. Jesse, if you would do a screenshot from your perspective of it, and then I'll do a screenshot from the screen sharing. And then what we'll do is we'll put these together and then have them for you when we send out the rest of the stuff, okay? Okay, I'm gonna stop my sharing now. Is that okay, everyone? We're back, so.
Yeah, see, when I shared my PowerPoint, I didn't even have any of it was just my full PowerPoint. So we'll have to play around with it. I don't know if it's something I did maybe when I set up the meeting or what.
You know, Angie, that's happened to me before. Sometimes it defaults going into full screen presentation mode for PowerPoint, and your little Zoom box is behind it. So what you have to do is you have to get out of the full screen presentation mode for the PowerPoint so that that's a separate window on itself so that you can see the little Zoom behind it. So it is, and I don't know, I could certainly try to screenshot how to do that, but I remember I had to fumble through it a couple times before I figured it out.
Okay.
Yeah, if I share my screen, full screen for the video or the PowerPoint, I lose everything on my screen. I only see the full screen. So
right.
I know
Okay.
there's an option for partial screen share too. I'm not real good at it, but that's an option, you know, to play with too.
Okay. And then just one more thing. We did a virtual scavenger hunt at the beginning of the retreat. And
great idea.
Something that made them happy, something that started with their first name, something that God created, and something that reminded them of Jesus. And they loved.
That's wonderful.
That's a
yeah.
great
We even
idea.
had night crawlers as something God created.
Not in my house.
Any other questions? Just conscious of time, we're coming up to 11. Okay, thank you for your participation, and just going to do a couple closing announcements. So again, Mary will email you all the handouts from today's session, so you'll be receiving those and some of the websites as well. Use the RSVP link that Mary had sent out before if you want to sign up for any other sessions, or if you want to invite other catechists and things to sessions that you might think that they would enjoy or connect with. If you don't still have the link, just email Mary and she'll resend it to you. So, so there's the opportunity for the other sessions coming up. So then we'll also then close in prayer. But again, one of the rituals that we do as a team is always ask for intentions. So are there any intentions that you want us to hold as we're closing in prayer? Go ahead, Mary.
I just want to remember all the leaders. We try and remember all of our ministry and religious ed leaders every day when we get together in prayer. So I just wanted to mention again that we are remembering you in prayer every day. And so hopefully today we will pray for that intention.
My friend Bill is battling brain cancer right now, so if you would keep him in your prayers, I would appreciate it.
I'd like to pray for the loss of my mother-in-law, and just so that for her family to know that we love them and we're praying for them.
Prayers in gratitude for baby. So tomorrow starts the 3rd trimester for me and baby girl, named to be determined. So in gratitude for health, and gratitude for the compression socks that are coming in the mail to me today, and just grateful that God is with us in this pregnancy journey.
And also just hold my son and future daughter-in-law in prayer. They're down to 11 days before their wedding, so it doesn't look like they thought it was going to look when they started planning last year, but it'll be a nice that God certainly will bless them, I'm sure, but just to hold them in prayer. So let's pray. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Loving God, you creator of all things, we ask that you hold all of our intentions, those spoken and those that we hold in our hearts. Thank you for this opportunity to be with one another. Even though we're not physically in the same room, we certainly are together in spirit. So I ask your blessings upon the starts of our school year, for all those who have started school already, for all the faith formation classes that will be coming, just your blessings and guidance as we continue in this year and this new way of being together. Health and safety for all. So we just ask this in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Peace, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you all.
So,
Thank you for being here.
yeah.
Thank you.